Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Lisa from the blog farmhouseonmoon.com, and today I'm going to do 3 30-minute meal ideas. I am always looking to expand my arsenal of 30-minute meals because with homeschool and busy evenings and just generally sometimes not wanting to be in the kitchen, it's nice to pull something together quickly, even if you don't have meat thawed out. Some of these meals will meet that criteria and some will require you to pull it out. But either way, having something to pull together quickly, having all the ingredients on hand to do that has been really important for us to have from scratch meals without having to rely on getting takeout or something like that. With a large family, that's really necessary because obviously it'd be very expensive to get takeout a lot. It's very expensive. If we take our kids out to eat, it makes going out to eat when you only have you and your husband sound very cheap. And not only that, I can control the quality of ingredients. So instead of using unhealthy seed oils or GMO oils, I can use butter or coconut oil, lard, ghee, tallow, good fats. First one that I'm gonna share with you today, I'm gonna call a garlic butter shrimp that I'm gonna serve over mashed potatoes. I realized after I put these together that all of the meals have potatoes, not really intentional, but in the winter time, we do rely a lot on potatoes. They're easy to come by, they're good for storage, so if you grow them in your garden, you can keep a bunch of them. So it makes sense that they would make their way to the winter dinner plate quite often, and of course, they're a tasty filling carb that pretty much everybody in the family will enjoy. At least everybody in my family loves them. They're easy to like. The first thing I'm gonna do is get my potatoes peeled. That is gonna be the first thing that I need to get going to pull the rest of this meal together very quickly. Just going to cook the shrimp in the butter until it is nice and pink, then remove it and make my garlic cream sauce. Sometimes I get questions about portions. I am making all 3 of these meals in one afternoon, and so my family, this is not the portion I would actually make for them if this was our full dinner. I just needed to get this video done, and so we're gonna be eating small amounts of 3 different things. What I like about what I'm gonna be sharing with you today is nothing is a specific recipe. I really prefer to pull meals together that don't require me to get out my teaspoon measurer. I can just add things as tastes good, or if I have maybe an herb or something that's in season. I really just prefer to follow more of the way something is put together versus a recipe. This also allows you to make small portions. So if it's just you and your husband, or let's say you're doing like a date night and you want to make something. Like the other night I thought this sounded really good and I made it for just us, you can adjust as needed. I'm gonna add a bunch of garlic here because it makes this so much more delicious. Every sauce I make, I always add a little flour because I just like how it thickens things up. So I'm just mixing it in here with the butter and cooking it so that we don't have any raw flour taste. And then I'll add in my cream, cook a while, and see how that thickens up. Another good thing to throw in this would be tomatoes in the summer. That would make it really tasty. Now, if you have somebody who's picky about garlic in your family, you could hit this with an immersion blender and it'll just taste garlicky, but there won't be any pieces of garlic. I am actually gonna do that because I'll have some kids who will be cool with that and some that won't. course, salt to taste. Do that on my green beans too. I'm also gonna top them with some butter when I serve. This is just about the thickness I want. Not super thick, but not just runny cream either. So that way it can nicely coat the shrimp and then top the mashed potatoes. I want to take a break from these 30-minute meals to tell you about today's video sponsor, Thrive Market. If you've been following along on my channel for a while, you've definitely heard of Thrive Market because I have been a customer of Thrive Market for so many years. Long before they sponsored this channel, I saw the value in the natural and organic selections for a low price that I found on Thrive Market. Thrive Market is an online membership-based grocery store where you can source all of the natural and organic items that you might not be able to find locally. If you live in an area like I do where we don't have a lot of those specialty items at local grocery stores, spices, supplements, coconut water, einkorn products, all things that I pick up on Thrive Market. As a Thrive Market member, you'll save on every single order of the highest quality organic and sustainable products. And they even have a price match guarantee, so if you find it for a lower price somewhere else, they will match that. So you can ensure that it will be the lowest price you can find. I love that on the Thrive Market website, you can filter by your family's dietary preference. So if you are paleo, gluten-free, dairy-free, you can see selections that only align with that. I personally love the Thrive Market brand. I find a lot of things that I like through that, like coconut oil, coconut aminos, avocado oil, all a great price. Thrive Market is offering Farmhouse on Boone viewers a awesome discount. You can get 30% off your first order plus a free gift worth up to $60 by visiting thrivemarket.com/Farmhouse on Boone. It'll also be linked in the description box below. I'm sneaking some bites of garlic shrimp. It's so creamy, garlicky, it's delicious with the mashed potatoes. Next, I'm gonna make a 30-minute meals version of shepherd's pie. Usually because you bake it at the end, it takes a lot longer than 30 minutes. I'm gonna show you how to pull it together a little bit more quickly. I'm gonna start by chopping up my veggies. I already have some garlic from the last meal, so all I have to do now is mince that. I also need to get my potatoes boiling so that they are done in time when the meat's done. To make them, I'm just going to peel them, chop them, boil them, and add milk, butter, salt, and mash. I always love to add garlic and onions to meat because it really flavors it. So I'm adding it into my ground beef as I brown it. Another key to making this cook a lot faster is cutting these very tiny because I'm gonna just be cooking them in with the meat. I want them to get soft. We're not gonna rely on the oven time to get these soft, so that's why I'm trying to make very, very tiny. Instantly realizing I used too tiny of a pan. Just as I said I was doing tiny portions, I was like, I am definitely not making this one tiny because I can put it in the fridge for another meal. So quickly changed my mind on that, like midway, and now I have a tiny pan. So ideally, obviously, get one that your meat and vegetables gonna fit in a little bit better. But just gonna cook this until the veggies are soft. I need to be able to get wild with this as I brown the meat. I always love to add a little bit of Parmesan cheese, fresh Parmesan cheese, to mashed potatoes when making shepherd's pie. It makes it brown really nicely. So I'll just add them into the normal mashed potatoes. I'm gonna create a little sauce for the veggies and meat mixture. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of butter, a little flour, the beginning of every sauce. I'm gonna add a little bit of broth and some Worcestershire, ideally we'd add some tomato paste in here. I don't really have any right now. Of course, taste for salt. So I like to just, I taste as I'm cooking for my family. And the key here is for this whole thing to taste good before adding the mashed potatoes, because we're not going to cook it. So everything needs to be soft, seasoned, ready to go. I'm gonna get my broiler going. Now in my vintage oven, I light it here, but then the broiler is actually in a bottom drawer, which is super fun. So I just take it and move it to broil. And then it's a little bit rusty, but it does work. I've done it a bunch. Top it here with just a little bit more Parmesan. Now I'm sure as any of you who have used a broiler know, never neglect to set the timer. I have done this way too many times. A broiler takes like 5 minutes at the most. So I usually set my timer for 3 minutes, check it, and then set it for a few more if it needs it. But we're just looking for a little bit of browning on top to give it that finished look and taste. Next, I'm going to do sausage, sauerkraut, and add in some apples with a side of fried potatoes. I had this a few years ago at a church event. Somebody brought in a dish with sauerkraut, sausage, and apples, and it was so good. My sister thought the same thing. I think we were both pregnant with our sons that are 5, so we were pregnant at the same time, and we both had the same reaction. This was so good. We have to go have it again. And we both went and bought sauerkraut because it pains me to use my fermented homemade sauerkraut and cook it knowing that I'm getting rid of the probiotic benefits. And you know what? If this recipe is delicious and I have all this sauerkraut on hand, I'm not gonna go buy some just because, I'm worried that I'm killing the probiotics. Either way, you're eating kraut with no probiotics, but it's still something that I sourced locally. I had control of the ingredients, the salt that's in it. So anyways, I have lately been putting sauerkraut in soups and using it in that way, knowing that, okay, it's not the most ideal way to use my homemade sauerkraut, but I have so much of it that it's just a way to preserve cabbage in general. And so I will then use it in my recipes how I want to. Putting the lid on for a moment so I can cook the sausages faster. And then we get some potatoes chopped up to fry for the side. Get this preheating for the potatoes. Coconut oil is my preferred potato frying oil. So I like cooking these most of the way through before cutting them up because they are easier to cut up into casing that way. But I am going to cut them up into these little bite-sized portions before tossing it with sauerkraut and apples and maybe a little butter. Taste. I don't think it's going to be any salt because my kraut and my sausage is both pretty salty. So put a lid on this and just let it simmer for probably my potatoes are done, so that way the kraut and the apples can just cook a touch. All right, well, I hope that you enjoyed those 30-minute meal ideas and that you got some inspiration for some easy, quick things to cook in your home whenever you're in a pinch. I also hope that you had a very Merry Christmas and you're enjoying this week right between the two holidays, probably taking some time off. I know that's what we're doing for the most part. As always, thank you so much for watching, and if you're brand new, please hit that subscribe. I make new videos every week on food from scratch, natural living in a handmade home.